And this is a Fox News alert. Protesters have been gathering for hours outside the embassy in Cairo, Egypt. And within the past few minutes, emergency vehicles have arrived on the scene. Protesters can be seen throwing rocks, setting fires in the streets. We're going to continue to bring you the very latest developments as they happen. But first, the violence in Egypt and in Libya are raising important questions about how much money the United States is sending overseas to these radical regimes. Now, according to the Congressional Research Service, our government doles out $1.3 billion a year to Egypt's military. And since the start of the Arab Spring, the U.S. has provided Libya with more than $200 million in assistance. Should we be paying that money? Joining me with reaction, Fox News contributor Monica Crowley and the director of the Lawfare Project, Brooke Goldstein. It is knowing the history of the Brotherhood, how we give them a penny, how they get invitations to I can't even get an invitation to the White House for a Christmas party.
You know, you go back to the beginning of the Arab Spring, and this administration did everything in its power to dislodge two key U.S. allies, Hosni Mubarak and Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi, different kettle of fish, but by the time Obama came into office, Muammar Gaddafi was providing us with a lot of invaluable intelligence information about what was happening in Libya and in the region, okay? He did everything in his power to dislodge those two key U.S. allies, knowing that the replacements would be Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamists.
Well, if they knew, then I am angrier than I am now.
Well,
and I'll tell you why.
Of course they do, because
how did they know?
Sean, the Muslim Brotherhood is the most important, dangerous, and organized Islamist organization in the world.
I said this from day one. A few of us said this. Well, I got to bring Brooke in here. We're short on time.
Look, from day one, the Muslim Brotherhood has been very clear what its intentions are.
Prepare for war with Israel. They said it during the...
Death for Allah is our goal, was what Morsi campaigned upon. What's unbelievable is that Congress understands that. We had a piece of legislation that restricted funding Egypt under the Muslim Brotherhood. And of course, Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton exercised a waiver, and we continue to fund the Muslim Brotherhood. The same with the Palestinian Authority. When it announced it was partnering with Hamas, when it undermined our foreign policy efforts by a statement bid, they exercised a waiver.
All of this is incomprehensible to me. The president goes forward, pushes Mubarak over the brink with no understanding of who is likely to take over.
No, I disagree with you. I
you
think
say
he
this
knew full well. The Muslim Brotherhood originated in Egypt, okay? They have been waiting 80 years for this moment. They orchestrated this moment a year and a half ago. There was no way this president didn't know that the Brotherhood was going to rule Egypt. Of course they were.
So they knew.
This president knew exactly what he was doing.
So now our embassy is breached, our flag is ripped down, Al-Qaeda slogans and flags are being raised, etc., or Al-Qaeda-like. And in Libya, we have 4 people that are dead, an ambassador dragged through the streets like it was Somalia and Mogadishu. And the president's response is, because Mitt Romney says we should condemn it, that he's shooting first and aiming second as we apologized officially as a country for 9.5 hours. You know, beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent life here.
Obama's response, the State Department's response, is right in line with the Organization of the Islamic Conference, the Arab League, and the Muslim Brotherhood. Condemned the blasphemy of Islam. Since day one, President Obama has been lobbying that the denigration of religious beliefs be a crime under international law. We co-sponsored Human Rights Council Resolution 1618 that attempts to outlaw blasphemy of Islam as a crime under international law.
Critical point, Brooke, critical point that hasn't been covered in all of this. The other thing is the transfer of responsibility. What we always do in the West and in the United States, and you saw it from that embassy tweet and their statement yesterday, we take responsibility onto ourselves. The burden is always on us when this kind of stuff happens. No, it's time that the Muslim world accepts responsibility for their faith and their mobs and their terrorists, period.
Why do people act like this over a cartoon? Why do radical extremists react? Think about this. Why do people react this way over a movie that nobody in America even knows about?
It's a guise. It's a pretext for anti-American violence. This was well orchestrated.
And planned for 9/11.
Absolutely planned, and it's coming out now that the White House is saying, the State Department is saying that Libya was planned weeks in advance.
And the president can't acknowledge Fort Hood as a terrorist attack. He won't acknowledge a war on terror. This is a consistent pattern of not recognizing that, as the 9/11 Commission said, they're at war with us. And we're now not at war with them. We're appeasing
and remember that there are different forms of jihad. There's the immediate and urgent problem of violent jihad, and there's the stealth jihad.
All right, guys, good to see you both. Now, the question of Israel comes up next. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu requested a meeting with President Obama. Guess what? He was rejected. We're going to check in with the deputy chairman of the Knesset, who is calling this a slap in the face of Israel. Why was it rejected? Well, the president wants to meet with David Letterman, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and we will continue tonight to monitor the escalating situation in Cairo, Egypt. A growing number of protesters growing at this hour outside of the U.S. Embassy. Now emergency vehicles have arrived on the scene. That and much more as Hannity continues.